I'm going to call this meeting to order. And we have the minutes of October 25th.
I'd move approval of the minutes of October 25th.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Let's see, then moving on, we have warrants 10, 10P, we have the capital fund number 2, that's for a truck body, the Conservation Commission number 6, and the Rec Board number 3.
All right, I'll move that we approve warrants 10, 10P, Capital Fund number 2, Conservation Commission number 6, and Rec Board number 3.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any discussion? So, under warrant 10, the total is $32,418.10. And that's going to the sheriff's contract, Wickby Hill grant that, some cutting trees on Wickby Hill for stabilizing a bank there. There's gravel, repairs for the highway department, fuel, and $14,200 for gravel crushing and screening, and $400 and something repair of the machine. So, what would you like to do?
As far as,
Do we want to look a little further into why are we paying the repair cost of that?
yeah, I'd be fine. We can ask Lee. I can get in touch with him and ask him that question if you'd like to make
Okay.
more of an inquiry on the repairs of the $800 portion of the repair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Not to, just on the same discussion then, do we need to amend the motion to pay the bills, or can we?
How about, we could hold that bill out, subject to looking into it a little bit more, and then if you look into it and you're satisfied, we could, how would we do this?
Do you want to withhold just the repair bill and not the cost of the screening?
Let's do just, we don't have, I don't think we have an issue with the
Right.
work, just the repair bill.
Just the repair bill.
So what's the, it's the fuzzy, I forget
Yeah,
the name of the company.
Fussy Brothers, and you know, that's a red flag right there.
That's right, that's what got my attention. Okay, so it was 14,220 total for the screening, less the 800 and change for the repair, right?
Yes, and that's being split with Putney,
So 400 and something.
yeah.
Guess, I don't, how, do we want to approve the whole thing and then I can get back here? If we withhold it, we're withholding it for 2 weeks, their payment, that's, I mean,
We could, let's see,
I guess I would offer this suggestion, because I think it wouldn't, it wouldn't have come in with us. I think, because Lee watches that stuff, he's up there working with him. We approve the bill as it's written, and then within the next day or so, I could try to get something from Lee and send that out to everybody, and then I guess if we found that it was not right, we could kind of have a quick.
sure, how about we approve it subject to your just
Right.
checking it out?
Okay, so that's, if all looks
And
good.
we can ask Charlotte just to hold the check, for
Sure.
just a day or so until we,
Okay.
okay,
Sounds good to me.
Tomorrow.
all right. Okay, other than that, the capital fund is for $28,745, and that's for a truck body. That was approved at town meeting. So, any more discussion? All those in favor then?
Aye.
Aye. had no visitors, unless Rich has anything to say.
Nope.
Okay. We have no road foreman here. Under correspondence for information, is there anything you want to discuss with that? We do have a letter, we were copied, going to the, from Donald Pollica, going to the DRB, and I guess they'll be dealing with that. Carrie Toll's letter, is going to the zoning administrator. His thoughts, and I guess you spoke with the planning commission last night. So, I think, unless there's something there, we can move on down our agenda.
Blasting through it.
Okay. We, under correspondence for discussion and/or action, we have, get that going. Oh, that's the wrong one. The treasurer, Charlotte Annis, has asked, with the holiday, Thanksgiving coming, let's see, on the 23rd, if we had our regular meeting on the 22nd, it wouldn't give her time to do the payroll and get checks to people. So she's asking that we move our meeting up to at least the 21st. But
Would anybody,
I heard someone suggest that maybe even the 20th would be all right.
I would like the 20th.
No, that's fine with me.
Okay? So, the one thing being, if she doesn't have the warrants ready for the payroll or anything, then we could, at that meeting, authorize the chair to sign them when they're ready. So with that, we'll change our next meeting to November 20th,
Okay.
which will mean we'll have to get the agenda ready earlier, but that's why. Sure, we can do that. Okay, I'll let Charlotte know we're going to do that. And then the auditors would like all boards and commissions write, hopefully a brief report for the town report. And I guess the deadline, they'd like to have them in by the December 1st. So, if you want, I could write that report.
Sure.
Everyone okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, great. All right, then, moving on to new business. We got a letter from the library trustees. They had a member resign, I think. Is that right? Okay. They were proposing Melody Stone to be the interim trustee. And the way it would work would be, if she was approved, she would be interim trustee until town meeting, and then if she wanted to continue, she'd need to run. Usually for appointees, we have an interview, but I was thinking in this case where it's just a few months, and this is, the trustees this is the person they've recommended that we approve, that we just go ahead, rather than try to schedule an interview, we just go ahead and appoint Melody Stone to the.
I would agree with that, yeah. I think
Makes
they
sense
recommend
with
that.
that?
Yep.
Okay. Anyone want to make that motion?
I'll move that on the recommendation from the library trustees, we appoint Melody, is it Melody?
Yes.
Melody Stone as the interim library trustee until town meeting.
And I'll second that.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. I can let her know, I'll let the trustees know that she's now official. So, a start time for select board meetings. You know, I think we talked about this, how we've spent, at previous meetings, we talked about springing ahead in the fall and falling back in the spring. And so here we are. Do you want to, for the winter, go ahead and meet at 6 o'clock rather than 5:30?
6 is fine with me. I mean, I like 6. I mean, probably 7's too late for most people.
So,
That's past your bedtime.
yeah, well, that's,
I mean, I guess I don't feel strongly. I've gotten kind of used to 5:30, and we don't eat till afterwards. So, but Hugh, you think you'd be hard pressed to make 5:30 regular?
Well, you know, it really just, it gives me a little more flexibility. Like if I try to, you know, finish up on a Wednesday, getting back here, and I'm not gonna, you know, December, I'm not so much gonna do that, because I'm gonna work a different day just because of the holiday schedule, but, you know, I mean, and of course, today's not a good example. I mean, I thought you might get more participation if it was a little bit later, to be honest with you, and people have mentioned that to me, but tonight would not be a good example.
I think Geraldine has sometimes mentioned that it's sort of a rush for her to get to this time, so that's, I think, you know, it's not a big deal for me.
I mean, I would like 6 if that would be
Okay.
workable.
Okay, everyone, so we'll start meeting at 6,
Okay.
and then when, I can't remember what we decided before, when the daffodils first start showing up, we go to we fall back, or we do whatever.
Well, I mean, that was really, you know, that was what Steve wanted.
Yeah,
And,
we can revisit it in the,
yeah.
well, let's go for
Maybe
6.
we have to, I mean, like you said, you could turn the lights on, but, you know, Geraldine and you guys, I mean, Zeke and, you guys work outside, so I know you're done by this time, but, yeah, so 6, and then we'll kind of revisit it in the spring.
Yeah, we could have,
That was me.
yeah, we'll see what, after town meeting, what shakes down from then. So we'll start, 6 will be our regular meeting time for the time being. So, health insurance plans, for town employees, it goes on a different calendar than, you know, our fiscal year. So we'll have to look at health plans from Blue Cross Blue Shield and MVP, and have something by next month. And Geraldine's sort of been studying this, and she has a meeting scheduled with Pam McFadden for next week, where they're going to sit down. And then hopefully sit down with town employees to go over possible plans, and then run it all past us so we can take a look. So that's sort of the plan and schedule right now. If anyone has a burning desire to work on this, okay, I'm gonna go to, if another member wants to go, then we'll just warn the meeting, so just let me know. I'll let you know when, you know, Geraldine and Pam are going to meet. So,
Okay.
let's see, that brings us to unfinished business. And you had a little update on the Miller Fund.
Right, couple things, and with apologies for the short notice, I looked into, Citizens Bank had been offering a CD that was paying, I believe it was 1.85% for 15 months. And I found out that that is no longer offered. I just forwarded that to you within the last hour. So that's not available any longer. A woman who works in their municipal department said they could get us, I guess, 1.05% for 1 year for $100,000 with no need for a checking account. I told her on the phone I didn't think we'd probably be interested at that rate. Also, I guess Suzanne Weinberg sent an email, and I think maybe it was too late for us to, well, it was a follow-up on a prior email, and I asked Lori to just print those out, and I did put them in unfinished business, and I looked over her email, and what she suggested is that we indeed do, invest in stocks. I'm not sure I agree with exactly what she said. She brought up perhaps a different fund than I had suggested, and made reference to tracking what the fund, the inflation rate, what the fund would be worth now, based on the inflation rate since when it was established. And in fact, I think it would be worth, way more, than she suggested putting that amount into a stock fund, and that amount would be way more, would be worth way more than what the fund is now. So I didn't think that was really, appropriate. And I guess all I would say is I think you probably know I was a little disappointed in the board's decision. I think what we did was we, the focus, the board's focus was on, the short-term volatility of the value of the fund, and what we've lost sight of is the income generated by the fund. And I'm afraid that come next year, when it comes time to make camp scholarships, again, we're going to be distributing maybe 10 or 15 times as much as came in the way of income. So if anybody ever wants me to renew my motion to put the money in the stock, primarily in the stock market and also in the bond market, and low-cost index funds, I would be glad to do that. But I'm not going to beat a dead horse. So
Yeah, I don't know if we were focused, or I wasn't, I'm going to speak for myself only on that. I was not in favor of putting the entire amount in. I think there was a compromise there to put some of the money into the Admiral Index Fund, which I think would have been a very wise move to do, and then keep some on hand as cash. And I forget the amount we talked about, and I would still be in favor of that. Is taking a percentage of that fund that stands now, putting it in that fund and letting it accumulate, and then keeping some in cash. I just wasn't necessarily in favor of putting it all in.
I think the sense was that, yes, the majority felt like putting a portion of in, they were comfortable with that, but putting the whole thing in was too much for us novice investors. And so that's where...
Well, I guess I would say anything would be better than nothing.
Okay,
because we're now yielding, what,
Yeah,
0.15
I
or
recall that you
0.08?
Well, we had
Yeah.
an amendment,
Yeah.
but it didn't go
Right.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Yes, no,
So-
I recognize that. Maybe
Okay.
I was being a little bit hard-nosed on it.
I think
on
you
it,
were
so,
too, but...
okay.
We've all been there too. Sure.
So, would you entertain a motion to put a portion of that in?
Well, we're talking, we've got $100,000 that
Yeah.
we're looking at, and I had suggested both a stock fund and an intermediate-term bond fund. And I don't really see the need for the cash because, we know what the needs, are and how much income there has been. But, I would suggest as much as possible. And I had suggested before $70,000 in the stock fund and $30,000 in the bond fund. But, if you think that, if you'd all be more comfortable with a lesser amount, I guess, I'd go along with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we'd be more, my sense was we would have been more comfortable with a lesser amount.
Well, you tell me what amount you're comfortable with then.
Well, personally, I would not decide this tonight.
Okay.
Because it's coming back up, so now we're kind of like, we're going into
Yeah.
it. But, I would like to look a little bit at of Susan's letter, just kind of take, I think it was 12, what was the starting amount, 12? 12,000
No, the fund itself,
in 1930.
I think it was something like 27,000.
Was it that high?
Yeah.
I mean, when I first did. Okay. Well, I mean, I'd like to just look at the fund one more time, and then I think it's kind of like springing. I mean, I'm not a financial advisor, so you know, I guess I don't have a percentage to offer right now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Any thoughts?
I just assume wait,
Okay.
have more discussion.
Yeah, we can let Geraldine know that this is where we're going, so she can be thinking about it also, so when the full board's back.
Well, I'm glad that it's staying on the agenda.
Mhm.
Right. So when, let's see, I don't recall his name, but
Well, Jack Davidson?
yes, came, he had suggested a fairly conservative approach of investing a certain amount each year. But we could certainly find something.
Yeah, I mean, he suggested that what they call dollar cost averaging, you know, investing over, I don't know, 5 years or something like
Yeah,
that. I don't remember
right.
what the period was, but the bottom line is nobody knows what's gonna happen with the stock market. Nobody knows what's gonna happen with interest rates. And,
Right.
and I
Right.
think that sort of approach would, again, we wouldn't be generating anything like the income that it would generate if it were in the stock market. And you know, we are the trustees of public funds, and I think we need to take a long-term perspective here and realize that, you know, it may go down, but over the long haul, you know, we have an obligation to, you know, future generations of needy children here in Dummerston.
Mhm.
And I think we'd be best served by investing, you know, a substantial portion, as I have suggested.
Okay. Well, everybody will be thinking of this, and we'll come up with some numbers that we can discuss next time, and maybe have a vote and see what happens.
Okay?
Okay? So those census forms that have been keeping me awake at night, you,
I read the whole thing.
ah,
Yes, after our last meeting. And essentially, the Census Bureau is looking to get ready for the 2020 census and would like the help of various municipalities to help them do that. And it's optional. If we choose to participate, there are training programs that can be attended. I didn't look into where those would take place. Yeah, they want these things, it appears on their documents. I mean, we can't just give them a copy of the grand list, and of course, the grand list doesn't reflect residents, it's, you know, properties.
mhm.
So I guess the real question is, you know, do we have the resources necessary to help the Census Bureau? You know, do we have the employees that would want to take this on,
Uh-huh, or the volunteers.
or the volunteers, right?
You said it was optional?
Yes.
So, more work. So
I mean, we could run this by, Laurie and
Yes.
just ask her if she thinks anybody wants to take this on.
yep, okay. I think that would be a good place to go with that.
And if not, it's optional, so you
Yeah.
don't have to do it.
Right.
Right. Of course.
Yeah,
we-
they want to know by December 15th.
Yeah, okay, so, maybe let's leave that here and
Okay,
come in and talk to Lori about it.
sounds good.
Or we could just, Geraldine's not here, we could just have a motion and appoint her, but, that, we might come to regret that. Thank you for looking through that.
Sure.
Okay, is there any other business you would like to discuss?
unless you want, I guess just because we didn't have it on here, but I have registered B&I for that municipal roads workshop. I don't know we need
Yeah.
to be, we're registered, I don't know if we need to like approve us to go or not, or if
No,
I'm gonna have to, if I'm gonna
I'd
have to,
say,
you know, get Joe to write the check for him here or something to cover it.
I think,
I know we
We
talked
could
about it last
hit
time.
the rock.
I'll look over your mileage reimbursement.
So, no, it's great that you're going. It sounded like.
Okay, I just wondered, because we're gonna put a claim in probably for mileage, so we need to approve it. That's my
I think,
question.
we have a budget for,
Travel.
yep,
Okay.
and, you know, the idea was to encourage members to
Okay.
do things like this.
Well,
I was looking, waiting for Joe to tell me that, they were going to have a meeting in Aruba or something for the census thing, but that apparently,
Well, that's when I go there in December. I'm gonna recommend that for next year.
okay. So it's great that you're doing it. I
Okay.
know that,
And Lee's gonna go.
Yeah.
with me as well.
good. Geraldine is taking a webinar on human resource management or employee rules, the rules regarding employees management. So that's great also. So I don't think we need to have a motion,
Okay.
just thanks for doing that.
That's fine.
Any other business?
When is our first budget meeting?
I believe it's that, I was thinking it was towards the end of November, but
Right.
are we going to have a special work session that last week of November?
29th?
Yeah? We could. Should we discuss that at our meeting on the 20th?
Sure.
Will we have anything on the 20th that we can start at least outlining it, or
We may.
could we have like our meeting and then go into a work session?
That might be something we could do.
I did ask Charlotte to get me the actuals so that,
Yeah,
and I did tell her that we had till the end of the month.
Okay.
okay. And we might have something regarding insurance by then. So we might be able to get going on the 20th with some preliminary things. We may have some of the non-discretionary items come in that we can start plugging in, so we can talk more on the 20th, whether we feel like we need to have a work session on the 29th.
Mhm.
Our next regular meeting would be on December 6th.
And I'm afraid I'm gonna miss that meeting.
Oh, okay.
That's the day of the much
Yeah.
talked about road meeting.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
So which ends at, so I don't think we'll be back. I don't think we'll be back.
by 6.
I don't know. Last time I got pulled over trying to get back to the meeting.
Let me drive. All right, well, we'll see. We'll play it by ear. We'll hopefully have a quorum. Okay. Yeah, maybe just, sometimes just having a couple people at a meeting, you can get a lot done. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll have the budget all wrapped up and ready to,
That'd be great.
so, any other business?
That was a quick one.
Okay,
Can we make a motion to adjourn? Okay, I will.
all right. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.